There is no false choice. We don't need a liberal or progressive with big ideas, or we don't need a moderate who can win back Trump-Obama voters. You need someone who can do both, and that's who I am. Please go to KirstenGillibrand.com so I can make the next debate stage.
That was as blunt as it gets. Kirsten Gillibrand's final appeal in the debate last night. She is saying what many of her fellow candidates on stage were certainly thinking: get me to the next debate, keep my campaign alive. And why is that? It's because we are on the verge of what is likely to be a dramatic and severe culling of the herd, because the qualifications for the next Democratic debate, which is going to be in the middle of September, are no joke. If you want to make it on the stage the next time, you're going to need 130,000 unique donors and at least 2% in 4 separate polls. All of this needs to be done by the end of this month, August 28th. That may not sound like much, but look at this. There are 20 candidates who participated in this week's debate in Detroit. Of that group, 7 of them have met that criteria and qualified for the next round of debates: Buttigieg, Sanders, Warren, O'Rourke, Booker, Biden, Harris. They will be on the stage in September. Then there is a group of 3 who you could call on the bubble. Julian Castro, Andrew Yang need just one more qualifying poll to get there. They will probably do that. And also Amy Klobuchar has 120 of the 130,000 donors. She will probably do that. That would be 10 candidates who seem likely to make it. But from there are only 2 more long shots who even seem to be moving anywhere near the target right now. Tulsi Gabbard and John Hickenlooper have both registered a single qualifying poll. There is still a lot of work to do for them, and for the others, even more. The table is back with me now. Rick, people have talked about the size of this Democratic field in varying terms. Is it healthy for the party to get this thing down to 10, or are there going to be vital voices who are missing because of this new criteria?
You know, I'm of 2 minds about it, which is not a good thing on cable TV. But because on the one hand, you've not had any voters actually vote for any candidate. So you're having the party and this artificial rule culling the herd. I don't think that's democratic with a small d. At the same time, there's nobody who thinks having 2 nights with more than 10 people each night is a good thing for the party or a good thing for any of the people who might eventually be the candidate. So, I'm bothered by it a little bit, but I also think it's better for the Democratic Party.
We go through that list right there. And by the way, those are the 20 candidates who were there this week. Seth Moulton, congressman from Massachusetts, is running for president, wasn't there this week, doesn't look like he will be in September. Tom Steyer, the billionaire who started putting tons of money into these early state ads, it's not impossible he will reach the polling threshold, so that's another name you could put into the mix. There are even Joe Sestak, who ran for Senate in Pennsylvania. He's out there running. So there are other names, too.
He's not going to make it, I promise.
Yeah, that's it. Mike Gravel probably won't make it, too. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
But let me put this question to the table, and anybody can jump in on this. The candidates who are in that group who seem unlikely, Inslee, Ryan, Hickenlooper, who seem unlikely to keep going, is there one there who you look at and say, that is a shame, that candidate really should be out there, really should keep going?
I don't know. I mean, I think that if you look at the ones who will be there, that it does actually span the spectrum, the ideological spectrum that we need going into this next round. And, you know, I was kind of a fan of the 1,000-flower blooming thing, but now I just want the roses and get rid of these people.
It is amazing that you have basically 24 people out there who've decided to run, and 4, maybe 5 are registering in the polls.
Yeah, only 4 or 5. And look, I wrote an article, I was being somewhat glib for the Root a couple weeks ago, called So Many White Guys. And it was sort of based on what they'd written in 538, that you have all of these people who have this sort of pretentious idea that I should be running. Some of these people should be running for the Senate, Mr. Hickenlooper. Yes. Some of these people should be actively involved on the ground in their individual states, running for governor, running for Senate, running for House, and doing other sorts of things. So I don't really have a problem with the party creating this arbitrary criteria. It's not like they're putting them through American Gladiator. I mean, if I want you to be my party representative, you should be able to get 130,000 individual people to give you $1. You should be able to get into 2% on a poll on a regular basis. So I don't think it's ridiculous. What's going to be compelling is once we get it down to those 10, what kind of opportunities will the lesser candidates, even in that group, have to still establish themselves? Will Beto finally pop, right? When he's down to 10 people and it's just him, will he finally pop? Elizabeth Warren, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't wait to see Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden. She has shown that she doesn't necessarily attack people. You know, she and Bernie Sanders did this Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing, and they went and attacked all the moderates and didn't go at each other. She may not even want to do that. So I think the anticipation of a smaller group isn't necessarily going to give us the interactions that we want, but I do think it's good for democracy, and I do think it's good for the party.
You mentioned, too, that the threshold's there to get a couple points in the poll, to get donations. Viral moment. I think all these candidates came to these debates saying, can I just get a moment where I go viral, people start giving me small... Here's Andrew Yang, one of the candidates who maybe was going for that. Take a look at him last night.
We need to do the opposite of much of what we're doing right now, and the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. The way we win this election is we redefine economic progress to include all the things that matter to the people in Michigan and all of us, like our own health, our well-being, our mental health, our clean air and clean water, how our kids are doing. If we change the measurements for the 21st century economy to revolve around our own well-being, then we will win this election.
I got to say, Tim, there are, Kirsten Gillibrand, U.S. Senator from a giant state, in danger of not staying in these debates, with members of Congress, people with some serious political resumes. Andrew Yang is probably going to keep in these debates. He's gotten enough support, polling and financial, to keep going.
Well, let's pause it, and I know this sounds corny, but I really revere the fact that this many people are dedicated to public service. And you had a stage full of people who are competent, committed, and passionate about it, and all of them would be an improvement over Donald Trump. So, well, I said last night. Okay. I said last night, yeah. I would not include her, frankly. But by and large, it's nice to have a field full of talented and committed people. I do think it's useful to have a winnowing. I think the lens, and it's showing, I think, how canny and street-smart voters are already about this, is everyone is seeing this through the prism of Donald Trump. Joe Biden wouldn't be even in contention right now were it not for Donald Trump. And I think that voters are already sorting through who can beat Trump. And I think that's why polls have sort of mirrored where you're seeing the field shake out.
Yeah, you mentioned Williamson, too. She got a lot of viral buzz after that debate the other night, but she right now would be on the cut line. She would not make the next round of debates. Again, August 28th. They all have till then to do it. After the break, no one has won the Democratic nomination in